Hey y'all, we're your hosts, Mackenzie Gonzalez and Tenley Wright with our newest podcast, Country Roots. This is going to be the second episode. The podcast is for country music lovers by country music lovers. Here we will listen to and review the latest albums. This episode, we are going to pick up where we left off in the first episode, reviewing Midland's Let It Roll album. And in this episode, we will start off with 21st Century Honky Tonk American Band. Okay. So I really enjoy that song. It's very... unlike the rest of the songs on the album right now, it's very upbeat. It definitely is something that kind of gets your foot going.
Mm-hmm.
You're bouncing around, dancing around. So like if this was done at a concert, the entire crowd
definitely
bounce around, head nodding, everything. It's definitely a great just pick me up song.
I definitely agree with that. It's definitely a really good concert song, but I'm going to go back and look at the lyrics. In the last part of the song, there's a lyric that goes, I know I've been away too long because I'm the same, but they've all changed. And the way I see it, it's all about perspective and point of view, but it's got me thinking that something along the lines of this person's been away from home so long that all their friends and family have changed. And he hasn't, and he feels like he kind of missed out on that. And that's one of the downsides of being on the road, but it's definitely a really good song to listen to, despite those lyrics being kind of almost sad in a way. All right, next up we have Fast Hearts and Slow Towns.
Fast hearts and slow towns, they light up the sun, they burn till they go out. Fast hearts and slow towns.
All right, so this is definitely the song at a concert that everyone's gonna have their flashlights out, waving along. It's definitely got that feel to it. But one thing, I keep going back to the lyrics in all these songs. They're just so well written. But I feel like this entire song is really just about young romances, and I'm not going to dig too deep into that because I think it's kind of a song that listeners can relate to in their own way, whether they're brought back to their own experience with young love and romance when the song is playing. So it's really just a good song to make you think about past romances and just being young and in love.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with that. It's for sure a song that makes you kind of go back and think about, not necessarily all past romances and young love, but like even just that first one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It definitely, idea-wise, reminds me of Eric Church's Springsteen.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He's got in Eric Church's Springsteen, he's got that lyric, does make you think about My Old Jeep, Stars in the Sky, all of that.
Yep.
And that's kind of the same vibe I get from this. All right, so next up on the album is Cheatin' by the Rules.
Don't call me after 5 o'clock. Change my name in your phone. Thank God for all our things. We don't need those receipts. Phone comes home.
All right, so this song is definitely interesting, just because they're like within the name, it's called Cheatin' by the Rules. So you can already tell just from the title what is happening, and they talk about the unofficial official rules that we don't really notice when at times, but it's there are certain times that you cannot call after you change that person's name in their phone so it doesn't seem suspicious to your partner if they were to check it, stuff like that. Just kind of little things that at times go unnoticed, but then once you start to notice a pattern, it's like, wow, something's not right here.
Yeah, and I was definitely thinking along those lines too. The chorus, the part we just heard, is just it's just, don't call me after 5 o'clock. Don't change my name in the phone. We can't keep receipts from our meals or anything. We don't want them following us home. We don't want our partner to find out. And it's really just about a person hiding an affair from someone they've fallen out of love with. And I think the lyrics really show that that person kind of regrets cheating, but they don't want to stop. And I think that's it's such a great thing to sing about, because while we may not realize it, there's a lot of people that go through that experience. And so it's just a really great song.
One of the things that I know, like, I've read a post about too, kind of going off of that falling out of love thing, is a lot of times people actually fall out of love with their partner for the same reason they fell in love with them.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of stubbornness then becomes the inability to compromise. That recklessness becomes throwing away money, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting that, yeah, within the song, he's fallen out of love with her and fallen in love with somebody else to some degree, whether it's true or not, that's up for the listener to determine.
All right, next up on the album is Playboys.
So get on the stage and play boys. Let's kick out the lights tonight, get high and make noise. We might drink a little too much whiskey.
Okay, so one of the things that I noticed with this song is the use of the word Playboy. You know, it's got kind of a double meaning, because she says, you know, I thought I could change you, but you were just a playboy, so now get on the stage and play boys. But with the word Playboy, I mean, as we all know, it's an adult issue. And so she's almost saying, you know, you're just a player, all of that. But then she's also referring to him in the sense that he's on the road all the time because he's a musician. So he is a playboy in the sense of he makes music. He plays for crowds.
All right, as I've done for a lot of the other songs, I'm going to go back to those lyrics and kind of like analyze the lyrics. There's a lyric in the song that says 100 miles outside of Houston, third name on the marquee sign, but out here you get used to losing your friends, your lovers, and your mind. So I think this is another song about being on the road, like you said, but it's more directed towards this musician has chose to leave his lover and his life behind to hit the stage and play. And that's really a lot of musicians have to make that choice, and it's a really good it's really good to kind of put it into a song and sing about it, and I think it's just a really good listen as well.
Next up on the album is Lost in the Night.
Lost in the night. Oh, darling. I was right there, holding you tight. Oh, baby.
All right, so I have my own opinion on what this song is about, and I don't know if I'm correct, but I kind of get the vibe that it's about a one-night stand. The reason is, again, lyrics. I'm really stuck on lyrics. But when he says, you turn the radio on, but I can still hear the song playing. You laughed at me when I got the words wrong. I would have bribed God just to hold back the dawn. I think he's like, the morning started and you're gone. I wish you had stayed. But he's still remembering all this stuff that went on the last night that whatever went on. And so I think he's like, he had a one-night stand, but he kind of wants it back, kind of wants to find that girl again. But that's just my own opinion, and I really love the entire song and what it's about.
So here's the thought. Going back to Cheating by the Rules. What if he has finally told her he wants to end said affair? And so they had kind of one last night together, and now that it's morning, and this is kind of end of the affair, he's sitting there and he's thinking, you know, maybe I actually do want this back again, and he's kind of wanting to almost go into the same mistakes he was making before.
All right, you're one for connecting songs, and I like that. I disagree, but I mean, because I see where you're coming from, and I understand that. However, I do think it is a separate song. But I like that you can kind of see that, and it's a wonderful connection. But yeah, so
And I could see it your way too.
yeah. All right, next up is Getting the Feel.
Once my life was like a wedding, straight the wind onto
Okay, so overall, this song is very slowed down, like even slower than the first songs that we had listened to in the previous episode.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's called Get in the Feel, but you can very much tell this is a heartbreak song. So much. And like right after the chorus, he keeps saying, "But I'm getting the feel for living again."
Yeah.
So he's at the very end of the heartbreak, or at least getting to the end where he's now starting to kind of feel like, you know, maybe there's a second chance with either her or someone new.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I don't think it's about a second chance with someone else, but yes, someone new. Like you said, this is definitely a heartbreak song. Interesting take by you, though. From what I can tell, he's kind of learning to move on after a breakup or a tough loss. It doesn't necessarily have to be a breakup. I think it could go either way. The opening kind of mentions how the stars have walked out on him and left him in the dark, which really pushes that breakup theme. And it's just really, I'm just going to say sad because I can't think of the word, but it's really, like you said, slow, and it's just a good song to listen to. I mean, even if you've gone through a breakup or lost someone, it's a good song to listen to if you want to get the feel back for living again, like he said, and just kind of recovering and slowly building up to being okay again.
Well, and then Tenley, there was that other line in the song saying, "There's no more sunsets for me," that I know, like, you heard that and you're like, that's so sad. So I mean, he's slowly coming off of this breakup and learning to move on, where in the future maybe there will be more sunsets for him.
And yeah, I was super sad when I heard that line. I haven't listened to this song as much as I probably should. It's definitely a really good song. I think I'm underappreciating it. I love it. I just haven't listened to it a lot. And yeah, when we played this before recording, I was just like, that's just such a sad line. But yeah, it's definitely a very sad, slow song. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's kind of about getting back to being good again and getting over a loss or a breakup, or, you know. So yeah.
So then last but not least on this album, and the last thing for this episode, is going to be the song Roll Away.
Introduced me to a Peruvian queen, said the best thrill of all is not feeling a thing, and she pointed to a line of stars. We sat at a piano with only white keys that went on forever and never did lead to nowhere, and on into the dark.
Okay, well, I spent 20 minutes the other night going over this song, trying to figure out what it was about. I listened to the tune, I listened to the lyrics, I read over the lyrics. I think I listened to this song about like 8 or 9 times.
I'm stumped.
I'm so
no
stumped.
idea.
I have no idea what it's about. I mean, it might be symbolic of something. I just don't know what. Maybe love, who knows?
The only thing I'm getting out of this song is like the music and the instrumental tune to it is very like Hawaiian, almost.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So it definitely reminds me, tune-wise, a lot like Elvis Presley's Can't Help Falling in Love. But as far as lyrics go, there was one lyric I was seeing where he's talking about the sun will go down, and then it'll rise and all be gone.
Yeah.
And so, like, that leads me to think it's kind of the end of
A relationship?
a relationship.
That makes sense. Oh, and just like, oh my gosh.
But I'm not sure.
I mean, the beginning is definitely very romantic. I just can't figure out the meaning between the two, the beginning and the end.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of it's just nonsense to me. But one thing I'm interested in is she introduced me to a Peruvian queen. What's that about? It's definitely an interesting lyric. I just wish I knew what it was either symbolic of or referencing to, or I even looked it up. I was like, what is this? And then I got nothing. But one thing I did notice is those first couple of lyrics, the pink parachutes come on slow and some nights they don't open at all. Usually a parachute would, like, if you're falling, it would, like, slow you down and prepare you for a safe landing. However, if they don't open, you might crash land. Is that referring to maybe going into a relationship or having a relationship, and it's like, if they don't open, this relationship's not going to go anywhere. It's going to crash and burn, and, you know.
Or, I mean, maybe, you know, kind of going off that, with that lyric, they open, they come on slow, like, starting off, you're taking it a little bit slower, But then, some nights that they don't. So they're going a little faster, maybe outpacing themselves, possibly.
That makes sense.
I don't know.
Neither
I give
do
up
I.
with this.
It's
I give
a
up
good-
with this song.
It's a good song either way. I just hate that I can't figure it out and pull it apart, and it's, but it's a good song, so,
Yeah. Another thing I noticed in the song is one of the lyrics says, "We were stoned and buried in the sand." And then, with the whole Peruvian queen, she said the best feeling is not feeling a thing. I almost want to know if, Peruvian queen is slang for some type of drug.
It would make sense.
That's all I can think about with this song, in all
It's really
honesty.
all I get from this song. It's not, stoned and buried in the rocks it kind of makes you think maybe they were on drugs. But, I don't know, that's really all I can pull from this song. And if we're wrong, but,
Yeah. So that's a wrap for our second episode of Country Roots. Catch us next time in our next podcast.
Yeah, thanks for listening.